This week on LTC News, public art breaks down barriers.
The city of Lowell had commissioned 5 or 6 artists to transform these concrete barriers.
We head into folk festival season.
So these are just some great ways of experiencing the festival.
And a new home for the farmers market.
Last year we were up at the JFK Plaza.
Stay with
us.
us.
This is a new location for us.
Welcome to LTC News. I'm your news anchor, Alanna Flood. Now in its 31st year, the Lowell Folk Festival is the place to be during the last full weekend of July. Downtown comes alive with music, dancing, and great food. Phil Lipshevitz, Public Information Officer for the Lowell National Historical Park, gives us some inside tips on making the most of your festival experience.
We are here at JFK Plaza, which will be the beginning of the 31st annual Lowell Folk Festival. It's here at 6:30 on Friday evening, the 28th of July, that the Lowell Folk Festival will kick off. What's great about this place is we're going to have a lot of people gathering from the different nationalities and ethnicities that exist here in the city of Lowell, and they will begin the Parade of Nations, which will take folks down to Boarding House Park. There are 5 downtown locations for performances that folks will have an opportunity to see and experience. What's great about the Lowell Folk Festival, that it is a free festival to attend. And besides seeing and getting a lot of wonderful music from around the world and around the country, you also have the opportunity to try different foods from around the world and around the country. A couple things you would definitely want to keep in mind. This is going to be an outdoor festival. It happens rain or shine, so you may want to check the weather the day of, dress appropriately. You bring some extra water bottles with you. We do have some cooling stations set up, so look for those. Again, make sure you keep hydrated. Also wear plenty of sunblock because, as you can see, it can be very bright out here. If you decide to bring your pet with you, again, beware. We expect thousands of people here, so that is something to be aware of. We also want to let you know that if you do have, disabilities walking about the city, there are ways you can get around. We do, for example, run our trolley, which will be running as a shuttle from the Mac Plaza area to the Boarding House Park area, so you can jump on that, and that's for free. Of course, there's going to be lots of opportunities to get something to eat, so you might want to bring a few extra dollars with you. Even though it's a free festival to attend, everything else does cost some money, and of course, we also are always looking for volunteers too. So if you have 4 hours you can spare on maybe Friday evening, Saturday, or Sunday, we're always looking for volunteers. So these are just some great ways of experiencing the festival, getting a taste of the festival, and maybe even giving a little bit back of yourself. When you get to a stage that you like, you can stay there, because what will happen is about every 45 minutes an act will perform. There will be a little bit of an intermission, and the next act will come and set up. So you can actually stay where you are, and the acts come to you. If you find a place that you really, really like, that's the way to do it. Looking at the distance between the different stages here in the downtown, they're all within walking distance. There are only maybe a few 2 city blocks on average between locations. So it's nice that you can walk around a little bit. The streets will actually be closed off, so there won't be the city traffic. It's like a big pedestrian mall. So we're here at what's also one of the other stages here for the Folk Festival. This is St. Anne's stage. St. Anne's stage is our quiet stage. It's very comfortable. So St. Anne's stage is where we have a lot of our single performers or just a small little group. But again, nice place to come if you want to relax, sit down, and enjoy. So this is it, Boarding House Park. This is the flagship stage of the Lowell Folk Festival. The parade on Friday night is going to stop right here, and this is where the kickoff of all the activities begins. This stage is going to go to about 10:15 at night on Friday night and Saturday night. Also, the Dutton Street Dance Pavilion will also go to about 10:15 on both evenings. Market Street stage, St. Anne's, JFK, 5 different stages here in downtown Lowell. These are the best places in the city to be.
The festival runs from Friday, July 28th through Sunday the 30th. As usual, LTC will carry the performances live from 3 stages on channels 22, 95, and 99. On Channel 8, we'll also have interviews and commentary. The coverage runs on Saturday and Sunday from noon to 5:30. If you want to get involved in the production, give us a call at 978-458-5400. Brian Dorrington, LTC Director of Municipal Programming, is away at a conference, but he left me his notes. Come join me for this week's City Council Synopsis. Hello and welcome to the City Council Synopsis for the meeting of July 17th, 2017. The Mayor presented the Council with the results of 2 recent votes taken by the School Committee. The School Committee held a special meeting to take a vote on the preferred option for the new high school. They voted 5-1 for option 3, which would put the new high school downtown and involves eminent domain taking of the dentist offices at 75 Arcan Drive. The Mayor, along with other residents, believes that the School Committee needs to approve the final location of the high school before it can be built. City Solicitor Christine O'Connor disagrees and stated in 2 separate letters that the decision lies solely in the hands of the City Council. The other vote passed unanimously by the School Committee was to put this question to a non-binding ballot vote in the fall. Several residents spoke in favor of this and urged the Council to consider a citywide vote. The Council chose to accept the report by the Mayor, but no motion to put the question to a ballot vote was made. City Manager Kevin Murphy presented a report as to why a deal with Genesis Healthcare to put a signature building in the Hamilton Canal Innovation District, or HCID, fell through. Originally, Genesis proposed to construct a large building with retail space and office space and would work with UMass Lowell as part of a training collaboration. According to City Administration, Genesis scaled down the project tremendously from their initial proposal. The size of the building got smaller, the retail component was reduced, and the collaboration with the university fell through. At that point, the administration decided to pass on the building, and Genesis decided to build in Dracut. The Council spoke in support of the administration's decisions and believes the city should wait for a true signature building in the HCID. The administration also announced that they have had several inquiries from different companies about building in the HCID since the Genesis project fell through. Remember, you can watch the meetings in their entirety on LTC channels 99 or on demand anytime at ltc.org. Thanks for watching. Brian says, be well. Brian will be back for our next episode of LTC News on July 27th. Election season in Lowell is approaching. Both school committee and city council candidates still have a few weeks to gather the signatures required to get on the ballot. It looks like there are enough candidates for a preliminary election in September. Soben Pin of the Kamai Post gives us a sense of the races as they stand now.
The City Council and School Committee elections for 2017 are gearing up. There are several Cambodian-American candidates running for the 9th-seat City Council this year. Pahan So and Pauratayam ran before. Visnanun served on the council in 2011 and 12, but was not re-elected, though he ran again in 2013 and 15. Sokari Chow has not run before. There are 11 other new candidates trying to win the seat. Robert Gignax wants to move from school committee to the city council. The others are Amanda DuPont, Dan Finn, David Conway, John McDonald, Joseph Boyle, Karen Cirillo, Matthew LaLasher, Martin Hogan, Jose Negron, and Robert Merrill. All present councillors are running again, except for one, Jim Moriarty. For the 7th-seat school committee, we have 7 new candidates: Dan Shanahan, Dennis Mercier, Dominic Lay, Gerard Nutter, Noel Cregan, Tim Blake, and Alice Vandal. All the present committee members are running again except for Robert Gignax. The deadline for entering the race is on August 4th, so there is still time to expand the field. People need just 50 signatures to get on the ballot. If there are more than 18 candidates for the city council and 12 candidates for school committee, there will be a preliminary election. So far, there are 14 candidates running for school committee, and for the city council, there are 23 candidates. This means there will be a preliminary election on September 26 before the general election on November 7. This year, because of the civic engagement around the location of the new high school and the lawsuit by the 13 minority residents alleging that minority candidates are marginalized in the election process, more candidates have entered the race than in 2015. With so many candidates running, it will be an interesting election season, and we will keep you up to date. I'm Soben Pin. See you next time.
LTC will be covering the election this fall. Public art brings a sense of vitality to the physical environment of the city. There is a new public art project going on now in the Hamilton Canal District that can be described as barriers breaking down barriers.
The city of Lowell had commissioned 5 or 6 artists to transform these concrete barriers and construction blocks into, functioning pieces of artwork. Blocks themselves are going to be used to block off intersections and, keep the public safe while they have all these different festivals.
We have a wonderful, vibrant set of images in the middle of what would be kind of a wasted area of the city, which is awfully nice because a lot of people walk by in the morning on their way to the train.
So these are just something that you'll be able to see from a distance and get the idea that it's an art piece, whereas it's really not up for interpretation. It's just, it kind of exists.
Each of my blocks that I'm doing with Lowell Alliance and Mary Torres are going to be each based on a different culture, so they're all going to have different colors based on the culture.
I was chosen because they like the abstract feel. They didn't want to relay any messages on it where people might be driving and stop to look at it.
One of my proposals was Crazy Garden or Magic Garden, because to me the antithesis of the city is lavish, grand flowers. And if we can't have gardens growing, then why not have gardens growing with paintings? So that was my thought, was just to make something fanciful and colorful and bright.
We're really looking forward to having these cultures represented kind of as part of the framework or the fabric of the city during the city festivals across Lowell. And hopefully it will bring out many more artists from all of these cultures and many more that are a part of the city into the artist community. And maybe in future years some of these blocks will be painted by artists in these cultures.
Judging from the reaction to people who walk by, it's a very pleasing thing to look and see paintings where there used to be just gray blocks.
There might be 2 stories you can tell with this. One being that every brick of the city, of the mills, of the canals, of what makes Lowell Lowell was built by people from multiple cultures, that we are a city of immigrants, and so there's that story. There's also a story of healing, of many of the communities that come to Lowell have come from really difficult backgrounds, sometimes a lot of trauma from their country's history. And so bringing that into how we creatively express our experiences, both individually and collectively, that can bring a lot of healing to kind of reconstitute who and what we are as a community and as a city.
We wish there was more public art, and this is one small step towards bringing more public art to Lowell.
Look for these colorful barriers around town throughout the year. It poured right through the opening day of Lowell Farmers Market. On July 7th, the market set up shop at its new location at Lucy Larkham Park on Merrimack Street, adjacent to Lowell High. Farmers, vendors, and patrons came out despite the downpour.
Farmers Market has been around for 38 years, so it's moved in different locations throughout the city. Last year we were up at the JFK Plaza, so this is a new location for us, and we're finding that it's a great one. Earlier today it was not as rainy, and we had a really good turnout.
You eat chicken?
Yeah.
Okay.
And our goal is to create a community event that focuses on healthy foods and also the local economy. So we have all kinds of vendors that participate. We have food demonstrations that are going on. We have food trucks, and we also have local farmers and people who create their own foods. So whether it be sauces or spices, we have a little bit of a variety of everything.
We just started this year. Yeah, it took me about 3 years to finalize the recipe for the barbecue sauces. and this is my first year out.
We do focus on our fruits and vegetables, are locally grown, so we really encourage a lot of farmers to participate that grow in this area. We have Mill City Grows today. We also have Siona from Siona Family Farms, and we have Fala from Fala's Produce. We will be having Farmer Dave out here starting next week, so all of these farmers grow their produce locally, and then they come here to sell. As far as the other vendors, we're really open. We're looking for craftspeople. We're looking for people who bake. We're also looking for music vendors to come out and participate.
The Lowell Farmers Market takes place at Lucy Larkham Park every Friday from 12 to 5 through October 13th, with the exception of Folk Festival Friday on July 28th. To volunteer or become a food vendor, give CTI a call at 978-654-4905. In this week's Sunspot, Lowell Sun Enterprise editor Chris Scott sits down with Jim Moriarty.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Scott, the Sun Enterprise editor. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Sunspot. We're on a summer schedule. We're going every 2 weeks. This week we have with us Jim Moriarty from Enterprise Bank. Jim, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
Jim's not going to be talking about banking or insurance or anything like that today, though. He's going to be talking about another exciting program here in the city. One of those programs that makes Lowell special. We're going to be talking about distinguished alumni at Lowell High School. And there are 5 more people who will be inducted in a ceremony in October.
Correct.
Jim is going to give us some background on the program, on the foundation, and he's going to tell us who's been selected for the October ceremony. So Jim, take it away.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. The 2017 class that will be announced right now, the first up from the class of 1933 is Dr. Esther Wilkins, a pioneer, just an amazing woman. If you go into any dentist office in America and ask the hygienist who Dr. Esther Wilkins is, they'll tell you she wrote the book. Now, if you don't mind, I just have to read a couple of things out of the New York Times. These are awards and recognitions. They did a special...
yeah, she was just written up in the Times not too long ago, right?
Exactly. So they write that first she was the first female student at Tufts Dental. She taught there for over 45 years, but Tufts University School of Dental Medicine's Dean's Medal, 2016. Lucy Haw, Project Industry Icon Award, 2015. International College of Dentists Distinguished Service Award, 2013. JI's Award of Achievement in Dental Education, 2012. American Dental Hygienists Association Award, 2010. Gavel Medal of Dental Education, 2008. Now get this one, City of Boston declared December 9, 2006, Esther M. Wilkins Day. Now, I don't think you can go much better than that. She was a pioneer.
I thought you were going to tell me she invented floss.
She might have, but I didn't get to that part. Next up in the class from 1952, a name you might be familiar with, is Gerald Wallace. He was a leader in this community of Greater Lowell for over 40 years. He was the youngest president of Lowell 5. He was a member of the Lowell General Board of Directors. He was one of the original members of the Lowell Plan and the LDFC. Now, what's interesting on both Lowell General and Lowell Plan is they've named both of their board...
Their conference rooms.
Yes, after him. I think of what an honor. The amount of time and the amount of work he did for the Boy Scouts of America and the Old Scouts, which we all have to write a check for the Old Scouts continuously, it's kind of ironic. He was a very conservative, but he worked very closely with Paul Songus in the revitalization of the city of Lowell. Now, to put icing on the cake, think about this, icing on the cake, he met his wife at Lowell High. So he met Frances Keller at Lowell High, and they get married and had, if I say 2 children, I know it's 3 children, so David's going to get mad at me. I'm going to mess this up.
And his brother Kendall, the former Sun publisher, was inducted in
2007, I believe. Yes, and he's now a member of the selection committee. So yeah, he took my place. Thank God. I'm off the selection one.
So, next one is a special one, Jim.
Well, this is from the class of 1968. Brian Martin. I had to write these down because there's so many. I didn't want to miss anything. Where do I start? Teacher, coach, city councilor, mayor, assistant city manager, private industry, Lowell High School athletic director, Congresswoman Tsonga's Chief of Staff. Lowell High School Athletic Hall of Fame Director and probably the driving force with Bobby Bynum. The Learn Project, one of the original members, they've raised millions of dollars to help all the students in the Lowell area and the Lowell School public system. Lowell High School Distinguished Alumni. He was one of the original driving force, and he's been the driving force since it started in 2003. Lowell High School Headmaster. I know you just did the special on him, and you could have done 3 of those because everybody had something to say about it.
It depended on how many ads we saw.
Well, what was amazing is every kid that walked through those doors, he wanted to make feel special. He wanted to make feel that they were walking into Phillips of Andover. They were walking into something. All right, for time. Number 4, from the class of...
Just staying with Brian for just a second, too. You know, you listed a lot of items from his resume, but he also had a few stints in the private sector that people don't always remember. Purity
Supreme, Elkin McCallum. I mean, those are 2 that come to the top of my head. I remember.
Did he do some of the Lock Monsters too? Wasn't he with the Lock Monsters for a while?
Oh, you might be correct, but that doesn't click with me, so I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm connecting that through Elkin, but
that could have been. But
okay.
Next up, class of 1980, Brian Chapman, founder and president of Mill City Environmental. 2012 SBA Minority Small Business Person of the Year, Lowell Sun Man of the Year, Corporate Philanthropy Award, SBA Graduate of the Year 2017, another award. I happen to know Brian personally, and the amount of time and money he's done for the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Lowell is amazing. He was the chairman for probably the longest I can remember anybody.
He is now. They came in the other day for a Senate editorial board meeting. Joe Hungel came in, and a bunch of the board members, and Brian was there. I think he is the chairman.
I thought he passed the torch to, this is terrible, I'm going to forget the young lady's name. I think at the last annual meeting we had, I think he just passed the torch. But he is so involved in it.
His contributions are...
You can't stop. The other thing, very involved, whether it's Coalition ACRE, what an example he sets for anybody coming out of Lowell High School with any type of minority background and what he's achieved and how many people he's hired and work, and they're all providing a source of income.
Do you happen to know why he has such an affinity for the Boys and Girls Club?
He has told the story. He was a kid. He went through the Boys Club. You look at any of those kids that went through. You go back into the 50s with Billy Veretis and the 60s with Billy LaPointe, and you start going through all of those. You've got
your knowledge of Lowell names never ceases to amaze me. But anyway,
all this useless information, Chris. That's it. And last, but certainly not least, from the class of
well-known name.
Very well-known name. Class of 1989, Tommy Golden. I should say Representative Thomas Golden, but I still tell him. Well, he's a kid. Here's a funny one for you. Before he was in politics, he was in politics. He was class president all 4 years at Lowell High School. Usually you make enough enemies after year 1. Yeah, dean of our delegation, and he's been dean for a long time, and he's too young of a person. I know him when he still had dark hair. I'll tell you a funny one after this. He was the first, to my knowledge, to bring up and make people aware of the opioid crisis. When he first started this, I don't think, Chris, many people heard of it or were aware of it. But since then, I don't think you can name a family that somebody doesn't know that a family's been affected by this. Whether you've gone to the wake or the funeral or what have you, these tragedies, and he was so far ahead of the curve and has brought more people aware of it that affects every family. I don't care what religion you are, what ethnic background you are, what economical background you are. Families have lost. So
he also was very important in the last session's passing of an energy bill.
Yes.
Now, I can't tell you what was in that energy bill. It was extremely technical and dense. But while Golden got a lot of press on the opiate, for what he did behind the scenes on that energy bill was really quite astonishing.
Well, you look at what they've done, and I'm going to just mention the University of Lowell, University of Mass Lowell, and how this delegation for years has been able to help that. What a relationship, and not to bring up Dr. Jackie Maloney's name, but she has done a phenomenal job, just brought it up to a whole new tier. Well, we'll stay on the Distinguished Alumni. So
those are the five. Those are the five people. Tell us, they will be you'll officially announce them, I guess. We'll do something in the show,
Yep.
obviously, and in the newspaper, but there'll be some
There'll be
activity
officially,
in
it will
September,
come out,
right?
it will come out it will come out in the Lowell Sun. We'll put it together, a little bio and everything, in September. The actual event is Wednesday, October 25th, and that takes place at Lowell High School at 1 o'clock. Tickets will be available, but we'll worry about that come September. Now, what is so neat about this, and this comes back to Mr. Anton when he got inducted, we used to have an evening program. Now we do the program in front of the students so that all the students get to hear it. And the stories they hear, I just gave you a book of, you can pick any classmates, whether these kids came from the housing project and what they achieved, whether they were a minority, the first one in their family to graduate from high school, never mind go on to college. It's amazing. And
I never knew that. So that's the reason it's at 1 p.m. and it's not a night event?
Yes, because now you're speaking to the students. They get to see fellow classmates. Rosalind Elias talked about what she was doing. Teddy Leonsis talked about a guidance counselor said, you'll be lucky to get into Lowell State. I mean, not too shabby what he's achieved. But you guys, they see the Marty Meehan's, they see the George Duncans, the Kendall Wallaces, the Louis Pedrosos, the Mickey Wards. Phil Shays told the story. He was signing up for the Marines. His mother mentioned Bentley. He ends up going to Bentley, a very successful CPA career. I could go through the whole list. Patty Fleming Quigley, there's one that people think about this. She loses her husband in 9/11, loses her husband, she and another widow start a school for women in Afghanistan. I mean, that's mind-blowing. These are all Lowell High School graduates. Probably 2 or 3 of her family could be nominated and get the award, but we need more nominations.
Jim, just give us a little background on how the program started.
Okay.
Whose idea was it originally?
I don't know whether to give Brian Martin or Bill Samaras full credit on this.
I think we only have 2 minutes left.
Okay. Yeah, we got the sign. Yeah. So they started this discussion back in 2003, and we said, geez, what a way to recognize that they have an athletic hall of fame, you have all these other things. Let's start this for distinguished alumni. So the first, discussion, they asked some people to be on the board. They got a selection committee. I happened to chair that the first 5 years, and we got inundated with applications. Very tough, arguing who's right and who's wrong and what have you. First class was amazing. I mean, every class has been amazing, but you take from the Jack Kerouac era to the Paul Songas to the George Barakas to the Elkin and Donald McCallum.
And the first class was 2003, right?
2004.
Okay.
We started in 2003, okay. Yes.
Now, we only have about a minute left. Did you say that you need nominations?
Yes.
Are you getting to a point where...
Oh, no, we still have plenty.
Okay.
But what's great is you hear stories on the street and somebody says, what about so-and-so? He flew the Air Force One for the presidents, 2 different presidents. We never heard the name. If they don't submit the application, we don't know the story.
How many applications do you get on a annual basis?
Every year is different. Sometimes as low as 10. Once the application is in, it's in there for good. It doesn't dissolve or anything like that. It's in there for good. So we can range from 5 to 50 a year.
Quick question. When you guys meet and go over the nominations, what are the discussions like? Do you usually agree on people, or do you go back
absolutely.
and forth?
I think it's much better now. I think at the beginning we were, some were stronger opinionated than others. Why is that one getting in over this one? But this group has worked together. It's a tremendous group. The selection committee gives their time and energy. They review all the applications. They come in with their opinions. We discuss them. They get voted on. It's a real give and take. It's an amazing group.
It's
just a great program. I'm just thrilled to be associated with it.
I'd like to read some names, and you have to tell me who they are and when they were inducted. You could probably answer that, but unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you for tuning in this evening. The show will be run back on different channels at different times. Check the LTC website, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Jim, thanks for coming in.
Chris, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That's it for this edition of LTC News. Remember that we are on every other week for the summer months. You can find us on LTC channels 8 and 99, on the web at ltc.org, or get the link each week on Facebook. I'm Alanna Flood. Thanks for joining us.